Okay, so like how we do, we'll just run through what we're going to do today, and then we will start off. Okay. So the first thing is just want to talk about the questionnaire. So I bought 9 of them, or 10 of them have completed it. Others have not. That's okay. You still have time. It's not like I have a deadline or anything. This is just to know your feedback. How has it been helpful? And also to see how much you've grown in observing the text and things like that. So it's not graded or anything. I will respond to it soon. I will send you personal messages based off what you send me or anything you need to watch out for or anything you need to improve in. So I'll help you out with that. But more than anything, I really want to help you guys. Okay, so your feedback is very important. And I got some really encouraging responses too, and things like that. And also, I've mentioned one specific thing, that is, how can I be praying for you all? And thank you for being very honest there. Some of you have written very honest responses. Actually, all of you have written very honest responses. And thank you for that. And we'll definitely be praying for those things. Other than that, what we're going to do today is we're just going to run through Jonah chapter 1. In case if you missed it last study, it's okay. We will just run through the applications we made and how we got there. And then I want to specifically look into few more other interpretations and applications from Jonah chapter 1, and then we'll go into Jonah chapter 2. Okay. I usually don't get time at the end for questions. So if you have any questions, just message me. If it's a question that I think is important for everyone to be discussed, with everyone to be discussed, then I will bring it up for the next study. If not, I will just respond to you directly. Okay. If not any questions right now, we'll get into this. Anybody has any questions? Okay. Sorry, somebody was asking something. Oh, okay, fine. Okay, we'll get into this. Okay, Jonah chapter 1. Okay, so if you look in the chat, I've put down all the applications that we made in the chat text box in the Zoom call. Okay, so in case if you can't access your WhatsApp right now, you can just look into that. So some of the applications that we made was, one was, am I being obedient to what the Lord says? And the reason why we said that is because the word of the Lord came to Jonah. There was a specific word that was sent to Jonah. And we saw how Jonah was a prophet. That's how God spoke to people. God spoke to nations through prophets. Okay. So the word that was given to Jonah was specifically for the nation of Ninevites. And the message was to repent and to call out their wickedness. Okay. So Jonah got the message, but he was not obedient. He was disobedient. He starts running away. Okay. So, So we saw how Jonah was not obedient. Okay. So one of the things that we spoke about is, today when the Lord is speaking to us, are we being obedient to his word? And one of the connections we made is with the second point. Okay. So we spoke about the character of the Lord in this story. And one of the things that was noted or observed about the character of the Lord was that he's merciful. He is slow to anger. He's a gracious God. He loved the Ninevites, though they were not good people, and even they were Gentiles. Okay, they were not Jews. They were not the chosen nation. Still, the Lord loved them and the Lord wanted to save them. That shows a great deal about God's heart. Okay, and we spoke about how the Lord showed same mercy to us even. So one question was, are we responding to the gospel? Okay, and the second question was, are we taking this message of salvation to the people, to the lost around us, or are we like Jonah, who's running away? And then we spoke about us running away. Okay, like, am I running away from God right now? And one of the encouraging thing that was shared that day was, God is merciful and pursues us even when we run away. So in this story, we see, even though Jonah was running away, God was still going behind Jonah, and that is something encouraging. And in connection to that, we spoke about how God disciplines his children, right? And when God disciplines his children, it is not to destroy them, but rather he disciplines them to bring them back to him. So in this story, the wind, the tempest, and all of those things was a way God was disciplining Jonah so that he comes back. So now when we go to chapter 2, we will see that more clearly. Okay. And so that shows a picture of how God pursues us even when we run away. But the question is, am I running away right now? And to what extent do I run away from God? Am I running away so much so that I'm unable to hear Him anymore? So it's important questions to ask ourselves. Okay, so I think more than seeing this inductive Bible study as an activity or something that you're learning, I hope you're taking these applications into your personal life. Okay, that's very important. Then we spoke about, is knowing my God enough, or is obeying my God important? So the reason why we came to that conclusion is because in this story, when the people on the ship asked Jonah, "Who are you? What did you do? Where do you come from?" Jonah's response was, if you think about it, was theologically very cool answer, right? I fear the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. Like he knew all the right answers. But the problem was that answers were not, it was just informing, but it was not really changing his life. He's still running away from God. So are you someone who knows everything about God? And that's it, or you're someone who knows everything about God and that is changing your lifestyle. Okay. And then we spoke about, am I taking God's mercies for granted? Am I comfortable in sin? So Jonah was comfortable, like even though the Lord was disciplining him, we see he kept going down, 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 like he's hiding, he's going down, even though he knows it's because of him, he's still going down. So are you there? And then we spoke about, am I being available for the Lord to use me? So Jonah was the person the Lord reached out to. So are you available today if the Lord wants to speak to specific people? Is the Lord disciplining me right now in any area, and how am I responding to it? Am I turning back from my disobedience or still running away? So that was the last question we looked at. Okay, so I just want to kind of pick up from that particular point, that last point, and just make an important statement, and then we'll go to chapter 2. Okay, so in this story, Jonah chapter 1, we see that Jonah, we all spoke about how Jonah was disciplined, like the way the storm and everything hit, Jonah was being disciplined. Now I mean, the thing that we see is sometimes discipline is pretty harsh, right? I mean, we see that this threatened even the other people on the ship. But the truth, or the one thing that stands out for me, is um, how we respond to such disciplines is important for the people around us. Okay, so if you see in this story, when Jonah said so much about God, that brought an exceedingly, like you read that the men were exceedingly afraid and said to him, "What is it that you have done?" Okay, just hearing about this God brought a fear in their heart. And then you see, like when Jonah said, "You pick me up, throw me into the sea," you see them praying to the Lord, and they saying, "Oh Lord, let us not perish for this man's life, and let lay not on us innocent blood, for you, O Lord, have done it as it pleased you." And as the moment they threw Jonah into the sea, they saw that the sea ceased from its raging. Their response was worship. So, what I want to encourage, or one of the things that I want to challenge you, is to remind yourself that when the Lord disciplines you in your life, sometimes it might be harsh, sometimes it might be a little small discipline. How you respond to the discipline is very important, not just for your life, but for the people around you. Maybe right now in your life you're being disciplined in some specific way, and maybe your friends around you who are not Christians know of it, or maybe they're Christians and they see it. And how you respond to that discipline is important for them, because that through that even God is revealing who He is. So through this whole story, it's not just about Ninevites and Jonah, but also about the people on the ship, because through all of this, they knew who the Lord, the Yahweh, is actually. So when they said in the last verse, then the men feared the Lord. The Hebrew word is Yahweh. They feared the true and living God. So it is important for us to keep in mind, how do we respond to disciplines of the Lord? When disciplines hit us, if we are just being ignorant to it, our friends, they're watching us and they're seeing. It's important for us to ask ourselves, how am I responding to disciplines of God? Okay, so just keep that in mind. And the last part is, we saw that the Lord appointed a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Now the word appointed, we spoke, I don't know if you remember when we observed, I said the Hebrew word or the root word is actually, it's like created. This was not something that was there, but this was something specific that the Lord created for this specific thing. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, we'll move forward. We'll move to chapter 2. So if you have any questions, please ask me now, or we can start, or we can keep it for later. Any questions? Okay, let's start. So I hope all of you have read Jonah chapter 2 at least once. And if you have, help me out here with observations that we can make from this text together. Who are the characters you see in the story in chapter 2?
Jonah.
Okay, so before that, I'm sorry. Before that, tell me what is the context? Okay, when chapter 2 starts, what is the context? What do you know so far?
He's in the belly of the whale.
Okay, he's in the belly of the whale. Okay, got it. So he was thrown in from the ship into the sea, and there was a fish that ate him. Now he's in the belly of the fish. Okay, got it. Okay, now who are the characters?
Jonah,
Okay, Jonah.
the Lord. Is the fish a character?
Yeah, we could keep it as a character in the story. That's fine.
The Lord.
Yeah, that's repeated. We already know that's a character.
Yeah, okay. That's
Any other
it.
characters? Are you sure?
No.
Any other characters?
Would Sheol be considered? Because I don't know if it's a different word for fish.
Who, Ronnie? What did he say?
Yeah, the third line, and he answered me out of the belly of Sheol.
No, Sheol is not a character.
What is
We'll
that?
come to that. We'll come to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vain idols? Is that a character?
Okay. They pay regard to vain idols. Yeah.
Okay.
Who pays who pays regard to vain idols? So you see a those there, right? So he's talking about a certain group of people who pays regard to vain idols. So there are characters there. Any other characters? Okay. Shall we move forward?
Sure.
Okay. Any places where?
The belly.
Okay. The belly.
Is the belly of Sheol the same thing?
Okay, Sheol. I'll just mark that. Okay. So Ronnie, Sheol is used as a term to refer to like it kind of connects with like how we speak about like I'm at the end of my death. Like it's the deepest place you kind of refer that. So you read about Sheol in Psalms, Proverbs, and all. It speaks about like this place. Like it kind of connects with the word hates in the scripture, like hell. So it's like the deepest depths of life. Okay, so like your depths of death. Sorry, death. So like at the end of life kind of thing.
Got you.
Yeah.
Heart. Is into the deep and into the heart of the seas places.
Okay. Okay. Into the deep, into the heart of the seas. Okay. I think we can just do heart of the seas because into the deep means it's referring to the heart of the seas. So I'm just going to put the heart of the seas.
It's moorings of the mountains. Is that? I mean, roots of the mountains. Is that?
Before that,
yeah.
from the side.
Sorry,
Holy
before
temple.
that. Oh, yeah. Holy temple. Yeah.
I went down.
Okay, guys, before
Yeah.
that, sorry, then I said I'm driven away from your sight.
Okay. From your side. Okay. Somebody else said something else before that? Before Sheetal.
I went down.
Went down. Okay.
From the pit.
From the pit. You guys missed one before that.
The land.
The land. Okay. So we see
Again,
the
the
repetition, holy
temple.
temple. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Any more locations or where?
The dry land. At the
Dry
end.
land. Yes. Okay. Any when?
Out of my distress? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we can use that as a when, like desperation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They called out to the Lord out of my distress.
Any other whens?
The flood.
Sorry. The when?
Then I said I'm driven away.
We could use it as a when, but I don't think that is important. I think we can use that when we come later to the linking words.
Okay.
Yeah.
7th line, and the flood surrounded me.
And the flood surrounded me. So how do you see that as a when?
He's telling like flood surrounded me. When the flood surrounded me. No. Okay.
No, I don't think. So I think that would be a better what was happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
When my life was fainting away.
So life was fainting away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where do you see that?
Here, 1, 2.
Yeah, I see it. So it's a, I mean, we could put it as a when. I think it would be a better observation to use that as a how or what as we go forward.
But
Yeah,
he's
sorry.
starting the sentence with a when my life was fainting.
Yeah. So we could use it. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong.
Okay.
I'm saying that we could still use it for something else
It
as
would
well.
be better as a how.
Okay. We'll move forward. What?
Grade.
Okay. So Jonah prayed to the Lord. Okay.
Called out.
Called out.
Answered.
Mm-hmm.
Heard.
Does I cried come?
Yeah, I cried can come under what, but I think it would better be where we talk about emotions, right?
Okay.
Don't you guys think? Yeah. So that kind of shows as
Yeah.
desperation. Yeah. So distress, I cried, and all can come under emotions as well. So I think that would be a better observation.
Heard my voice. Oh, you marked it, sorry.
Yeah.
And cast me into the
Cast
deep.
me. Okay. So the deep there is also let's do that aware because that'll be helpful.
There's another deep then. Surrounded.
And the flood surrounded, yeah.
And passed over.
So the
Billows
next,
passed.
I think the next whole line kind of, what was happening, there was like a whole line there.
Driven away.
Mm-hmm.
Look upon.
Mm-hmm.
Closed.
Closed in. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, surrounded, wrapped.
Wrapped.
Yeah.
Whose bars closed again? Brought up.
I think fainting away would be a word, right?
Yeah. So I'm putting 2 colors on top of that, okay?
Yeah.
What was it previously marked for? I forgot.
When, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thus I remembered the Lord, like
Yeah.
remembered.
Yeah.
Pay regard.
Mm-hmm.
Forsake.
Yeah.
A question here, Tobin, sorry. Is steadfast love a what?
It'd be an emotion, right?
Yeah.
Not emotion.
Also pay regard. We could use it as a steadfast. I mean, we could use it as a what? What, like, trying to think what is a better word? I will just keep it off for now. We'll come back to it. Okay. I'll have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Okay.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Vowed. Also, then salvation. Isn't that also a what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Lord spoke to the fish.
Okay. That can be a what, how.
And did.
Yeah. I will pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will pay a word.
Okay.
Sorry, where do you see that?
Whatever word I will pay to the Lord. Salvation belongs to the Lord right before that.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to clear something, okay? The word salvation here, okay? It actually means deliverance, okay? Okay, just side note. Okay, any house? Any how in the
Out of my distress.
Lord? Why do you say that, Sheetal?
He's praying out of his distress. So it must be like, or maybe not. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The I cried will come here, right?
Yeah, I
How?
cried we could put how and also for emotions as well. Do you think the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line, for you cast me, is that how do you guys think?
Yes.
That would be
Sorry, go ahead.
why? How is that a how?
Sorry.
How is that a how?
Yeah,
Yes.
so he's in the deep because the Lord. So he's saying you casted me into the deep. So he's saying even
Oh,
they did it, you did it. So how did he
okay,
get
okay.
there? Yeah, yeah.
That's deep. So there's this word. I mean, there's this line. Yet I shall again look.
Where is that,
A how?
Sheetal?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
10th line.
Yeah, we could put it as a how. But I think yeah, we can put it as a how too, but it'll make more sense when we do the interpretation.
Okay.
I'll tell you why it'll be a how then.
Is forever a how?
No.
That's a linking word, right?
Yeah, it would be a link, not linking word.
Could it be a when?
Yeah, it could be a when actually. What was the color we put for when? Yeah. Yeah, got it.
Hey, Toba, sorry. There's a quick question. Just can you clarify again on the how? Like, what are we looking at to define a how?
So when we talk about how, so let me look at one example here to give you. So if you look, can you see the line, when my life was fainting away, I remembered the Lord and my prayer came to you into your holy temple. Do you see that line?
Yeah.
Okay. So in that line, like we can see that him remembering the Lord in that moment led him to pray, that his prayer started from that moment when he remembered the Lord. So we can probably say about how like him remembering the Lord is what led him to pray at that moment. So that can be a how. You
So
get that?
is remember the Lord the how, or is it the because his life was fading away, and that's what caused him to remember the Lord and pray? Is that how
The
it is?
what causes the how of sorts.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rishital?
I'm saying the what kind of causes the how.
Causes the how. Yeah. It's kind of interconnected most of the time.
Okay. So then, so for that line, so what would be marking the how then? Would it be the remember? Be the fainting away?
I think the important thing would be he remembered the Lord at that moment, right? That's what really, yes, of course, he's fading away. But when his life was fading away, the important thing is he remembered the Lord at that moment and he called out to him because of it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, let's do repeated words, guys. Sorry. Do we have any more house? There are more house, by the way. Do you guys want to chip in.
Voice of thanksgiving.
Yeah. And will sacrifice to you.
Sacrifice to you.
I
And
will pay.
vowing.
That is yeah. What I vowed. Yeah.
Also, how did Jonah get out of the belly of the fish? He was vomited out. So
Yeah, I think the better thing would be the Lord spoke to the fish, and the Lord spoke to the fish. Yeah. Okay. Let's do.
Sorry, one more thing. And my prayer came to you.
Sorry, Sheetal.
I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came to you. Could we mark that as a how?
I'm just trying to find that. Oh yeah. Wait. I remembered the Lord. I don't think it's. Sorry. Go ahead.
The reason he's specifying that the prayer came to you is for a reason, that showing how it came or how the prayer. I don't know.
I think I remembered would be the better one there. Then, yeah. Okay, let's do the repetition.
Belly.
Belly. Before that, there's something else.
Prayed.
Lord.
Prayed.
Before the Lord.
The Lord.
Oh,
Prayed.
sorry.
Jonah.
Sorry. 1 second.
Jonah.
What did you guys just give me a second, okay? Wrong color. Yeah, go ahead. So we said prayed.
Yep.
Wait, before that there's Jonah.
Yeah, that's character, so that's fine. That repetition is fine. Anyways, we know that's the main character.
Okay. Belly.
Okay, the belly. Where are the other places you see the belly?
Belly of Sheol.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's it.
Fish.
Okay, fish.
Upon your holy temple.
Can we just go like verse by verse now? Like let's go in order so it'll be helpful. So yeah, we'll come to upon your holy temple in a moment. So I called out to the Lord out of my distress, and he answered me out of the belly of Sheol. I cried, and you heard my voice. So anything there?
Voice.
Where else do you see voice?
Voice is there in the second last line. What have I vowed? No, sorry, not that. But I with the voice of thanksgiving. Third last line.
Yeah, got it. Any other repetition in the next line or those lines?
I'm just asking, into the deep and into the heart.
I think we have deep repeated. We could mark that.
Surrounded. I have a question, Tobin. All your waves and your billows and the waters closed in, are they linked, the waves and the waters?
Yeah, we could. I mean, obviously it's linked, right?
Okay.
So somebody
Holy
said
temple,
holy temple.
holy
Yeah,
temple.
yes. Sorry. Any more repetition?
I think closed is repeated. I'm trying to see if it was. No, maybe not. Yeah, closed. Waters closed and bars closed.
Yeah.
My life, so that the waters closed in over me, take my life, and then when my life was fainting away.
Is that right, Ronnie?
Yeah, and there's one also right about that. The waters closed in over me, take my life. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 lines above that first. Yeah. Yeah. Then. Yep.
Okay. Let's keep moving forward. Terms of conclusion, linking words.
Then. No.
Okay, so then, right?
Would we consider that? I don't know, because I thought just
Yeah, so then is linking from chapter 1, right?
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
For you cast me. Oh, sorry, before that. And Jonah.
And sorry, the line right before that?
In the first line itself, Tobin, it says, sorry, I'm looking at my bad, I went to the first chapter, my bad.
No problem, Sheet.
Okay, I think then it is for you.
No,
Fifth line.
For you cast me. I think I don't think for you is important here. We could use for as a linking word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're linking with.
I don't know if we've gotten when my life was fainting.
Yeah.
And then there is but I with the voice of thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And the last one, and Lord spoke.
I went down to the Tobin. I went down to the land whose bars were closed. Is who's a linking word?
No, I don't think. But I think better the next line. Yet you brought up. Yeah. Okay. Any grammatical features like any mood? Do you have any shift in plot or anything that you see?
Distress.
Okay, distress. Let me just check.
Can we say that this gives like a vibe for prayer or a lamentation?
So you're saying that as a genre?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It's written it in that way. So.
Yeah. You're right.
Oh, thanks, Maya.
First time.
Becky.
Excuse me, I've been answering all this while.
So you would say call it as prayer of
prayer
lamb.
or
I
yeah.
don't think lamentation is the right word. Prayer.
Okay, prayer, just a prayer. A very
It's
distressed prayer.
Jonah's prayer there, by the way. Just say.
Okay. Okay. So far we're good. We have 10 minutes probably to make some. Okay. Okay. What do you think is the main point of this particular passage out of the observations that we made? So you need to look at the repeated words. Some of the things that stands out. The genre we looked at, the characters. What do you think is the main point? Or what do you think is happening right here based off our observations?
It's a cry for help.
Jonah is
Or
asking for forgiveness,
Okay, Jonah is asking forgiveness. Okay.
and the Lord is showing his mercy by relieving him out of the fish. Giving him.
Okay. Okay.
I got another observation, but I mean, sorry, not observation, interpretation, but I
Go
don't know if it's right. So like the first, we noticed prayed like twice, and then so basically like just from the previous chapter and this chapter, the next thing we hear is Jonah prayed. He didn't do anything else but pray, because he, like, after he's done everything he could, he's turned to finally prayer. And I don't
Nice.
know, see, I don't know if this is right.
Okay.
I like that.
So Jonah has reached a place where he is right now doing nothing else but praying. Right, Becky?
Yeah, like
Okay.
he,
Okay.
after doing everything else, the last thing he does is pray.
Okay.
As in, I think it's like, he's not trying to, with his own might, try to get out of the belly of the fish. He's praying. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this question. Okay, based off your observation. Do you think this is a prayer for help, or this is a prayer of thanksgiving? Okay, let me put it this way. Is he praying to get out of the belly of the fish, or is he praying, thanking God that God saved him from the sea?
It's more of
I think
thanksgiving.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's more of thanksgiving.
It's
More
more
of
of
a Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
It's more of thanksgiving, right?
yeah.
Okay, why do you guys say that?
Because he realized, like, I
because
don't
of
know.
this life, you cast me into the deep
Like
hearts of this.
the second verse.
Yeah, I want you to answer from the passage, okay? Don't look anything, don't tell
The
me from
second
your
verse.
mind, from the text, what we're looking at. Yeah, Joash, go ahead.
So he called out to the Lord,
Oh, sorry, it's Kevin.
and
Kevin,
then
go ahead.
out of the distress, the Lord answered him, and
Okay.
out of the belly he cried, and he heard my
Okay.
voice, and for Lord is the one who cast him into the sea, and into the
Okay.
sea, blah blah blah, surrounded me.
Okay.
And there's a line here. It says, "But I with the voice of thanksgiving."
Yeah. So
Like,
no,
is that
there's something else before that. So let's look at the observations we made. Okay, this is the only thing I'm going to help you guys out with today. The first line. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from the belly of the fish, saying, right? So Jonah is right now in the belly of the fish when he's praying this. Everybody agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now we saw the repeated word pray twice in this passage, right? So let's go to that second time when that word prayer is seen in this text, okay? So we see that when my life was fading away, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came to you into your holy temple. Okay, so the right before this prayer happened, Jonah prayed again. That was when he was in the sea, and he prayed to the Lord, and it came to him. He remembered the Lord, and he prayed. And then he says, those who pay regard. Yeah, so you kind of see that this prayer is happening in the fish after he was delivered from the sea, right? So what is happening prior to this, when my life was fading away, he's explaining what exactly was happening to him in the sea, right? If you look at the terms that's used there, all your waves and your billows passed over me, and the flood surrounded me into the hearts of the seas. So guys, this is where I want you guys to think of the context, okay? So the last thing we know about Jonah is he was eaten by the fish, right? Everybody agrees in
Yes.
chapter 1? Okay.
Yes.
But what we don't know is how long he was in the sea before the fish ate him. Agree?
Agree.
Okay. What Jonah is telling us from chapter 2, or from what we have observed, is he was in the sea for a pretty good time period, right?
Tobin, when you say he was in the sea, you're meaning on the ship or after he was cast out?
No, after he was cast out.
But then in verse 1, the last line, it says that, I mean, I know it's kind of very ambiguous, but it just says that the Lord brought a fish and it swallowed him. Like it was, right? It was immediate, right?
Do you see it's immediate?
I mean, I know it doesn't say immediate, but
Yeah.
I think thought process in that is like when he was cast out, the fish just came.
Yeah. When
Right.
he was cast out, sorry, go ahead. Somebody else was talking.
The reason why I drawn it for it to be immediate is because now Jonah is a human being. If he was cast into the sea, in the deep, he's not going to survive more than, say, a day, for all practical reasons. So it should have been an immediate thing.
So, Joash, you were saying something?
I mean, yeah, quite same. I mean, there was a storm going on, right? So
Yeah.
could he have swum in the sea, like in the stormy sea? I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I don't know.
So this is why we're doing observation, right? So in chapter 2, what we're seeing is Jonah is giving us a picture of his distress, right? That's what we see. Out of my distress, I'm crying. I called out to the Lord. So what is his distress? What was happening to him? Why is he calling out to the Lord out of his distress? Is it because he's in the belly of the fish? Like, is all of these things that he's saying from verse 2 happening in the belly of the fish, or do you guys think that's more like that's something that would probably happen in the sea?
But here's the thing. If I was eaten up by a fish when I'm in the belly of a fish, I would be in distress.
Yeah, you would be in distress, but look at the other observations. Look at the whole chapter. Okay. What he is saying.
He was happy to not have drowned, right?
Look, sorry?
He was happy to not have drowned, I guess.
He was happy not to. Sorry, I didn't hear you properly.
I mean, he could have drowned if the fish hadn't eaten him, right?
You're right. He could have drowned if the fish hadn't eaten him. So that's why I want you guys to look. So look at what Jonah says. Okay, I'm going to read chapter 2 again, and I hope as I read this, it'll help you guys understand better. So just listen to me as I read this. Okay. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord, his God, from the belly of the fish, saying, I called out to the Lord out of my distress, and he answered me out of the belly of Sheol. Okay, not belly of the fish, belly of Sheol. Right now, Jonah is still in the belly of the fish when he's praying this. And he cried, and you heard my voice. So now he's saying, for you cast me into the deep, okay, into the heart of the seas. You see where he was first put. He was not put straight into the mouth of the fish, right? He was put into the sea. And the flood surrounded me. All your waves and your billows passed over me. Then I said, I am driven away from your sight, yet I shall look upon your holy temple. So let me just help you guys out here a little bit, okay? Holy temple here refers to a way how believers used to look to a particular direction. They used to look to the holy temple and they used to pray, okay? So that was a practice that they did. So Jonah looked upon the holy temple. He was sorry, I missed the line. Then I said, I'm driven away from your sight, yet I shall look upon your holy temple. So in that moment of distress, he's looking to the holy temple for help. The waters closed in over me to take my life, and the deep surrounded me. Weeds were wrapped about my head. At the roots of the mountains, I went down to the land whose bars closed upon me forever. Yet you brought up my life from the pit, O Lord my God. When my life was fading away, I remembered the Lord. My prayers came to you into your holy temple. So far from what I've just read right now, do you guys get what is happening?
Yeah. Now it
Do you
makes
get it?
sense.
Now it makes sense, right? So this is what I want you to picture. So Jonah was put into the sea and the fish ate him. That is true. We all know that. But what we don't know is how long Jonah was in the water. But what we know from chapter 2 is Jonah was there to a point where he thought he's actually dying. He's actually dying and he's calling out of distress to the Lord, right? He's crying out. He's like he's crying out. He's even looking to a particular direction for help. So that is where Jonah is right now. Like, I'm not right now. I mean, that is what is happening to Jonah. You guys get it? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh.
cool. Somebody was asking something? No. Okay. Okay, so keep going, guys. So he is distressed, and we know the reason for distress is because he's in the sea and he's crying out for help. Okay, he cried out to the Lord for help. Okay, what else can we see as part of interpretations from the observations?
Tobin, I don't understand this part when it says roots of the mountain went down, the bars closed
Yeah.
upon me
So
forever.
so these
Is
are
it talking
just
about the fish?
no. This is talking about what is happening in the water. So basically, he's just giving us, like he's just helping us imagine, or like what is the right word? Like he's just giving us a picture of how serious or
How
like
yeah,
how bad it was.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Okay,
like a
but like,
dramatic, poetic
but
form.
what does
Ah,
this
yeah.
mean? Like the land whose bars closed. Like, what is he
So
trying to say?
yeah, the land whose bars is closed refers to Sheol actually. Okay. So
Okay.
so the Sheol is referred like to the land whose bars is closed. There is a cross reference. I can't remember right now on top of my mind, but I can give it to you after the study. I'll just look at it and send it to you guys.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
is in Psalm though. So it's spoken as the land who has bars. So until the bars are open, like you don't go into Sheol, meaning you're not dead. So basically, he's saying that I was to a point of death. So like I was there. That's what it
Oh,
actually means. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like going
Okay.
into the abyss. Kind of,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Kind of.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm just going to pause here right now because time's up. So we'll at least try to draw one application or two applications from what we have learned so far. Okay. From the interpretations we have made so far. There is so much.
but it's like the most obvious one. But anyways, uh, it's like, you know how Jonah was like almost to the point of death. He was basically like, let's like say literally and emotionally sinking. Okay, anyways, so sorry. Okay, so like that when we are like we feel like we're going to like I don't know how to say it, but it's basically that line, um, my life was fainting away, then I remembered the Lord and my prayer came to you. So like
Hmm.
when we are in our lowest of the lowest, we that's when sometimes we remember the Lord, and the Lord still listens to us. Okay, I remember.
Okay.
So like
Okay, Becky. So let me help you out here. Okay. Becky, you there?
yeah.
Okay. So what is the lowest in this text? What is Jonah telling the lowest? What does lowest look for Jonah in this text?
Like he's almost dead, like that kind.
Okay. So the lowest a person can go is actually death. Agree?
Yeah,
Yeah. You feel like you're gonna die, right?
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So at that moment, he remembered the Lord and he prayed out. He cried out to the Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to bring out an application out of that? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good point that you brought here. So here's what I can bring out. Like here's a specific application we can draw out of that. no matter how low we think we are, the Lord can come and pick us up from that particular place. Okay, Jonah gives us the lowest of all. He says he's actually sinking and he's dying. Okay, he's saying, I'm so close to dying right now at this moment, and there's nothing I can do to help myself. He's so helpless in that place. But even from that place, the Lord picked him up. You see that? Okay, so I think the application we can make, specific application we can make is, what point of life am I? Like, am I in a low place in my life? But even when I'm in this place, who am I seeking for help? Like, who am I looking to? Who am I crying out to? Is it the Lord, or is it the things of this world, or the people around me, or like the things that I love and I value in life, or is it really the Lord that I'm looking for help? Does that help, Becky?
Yeah. Okay. You just read my mind.
Okay, guys. Any more applications? We have time for one more, and then we'll close for now. Kevin.
Yeah, so there's a line where it says, those who pay regard to vain idols forsake their hope of steadfast love. I've heard tons of things about what idol worship brings to you, but this is the first time hearing forsake their hope of steadfast love. I think towards the end you were talking about how even till the point of death, at that point in time, his hope was, his prayer was to the Lord, and it really showed that who the Lord is, I mean, what He's showing, where he was still having hope in the Lord, and He was providing him the steadfast love, even though he was trying to run away from Him.
Yeah. So you could kind of see the difference between the vain idols and the true Lord, right?
Yeah.
So a quick question, guys. Okay, I might take an extra 2 minutes. So quick question. What is the, when Jonah says that particular verse, right? Those who pay regard to vain idols forsake their hope of steadfast love. Keeping the context in mind, what is Jonah referring to here? Keep chapter 1 in mind. It might help you.
The other men on the boat who were crying out to their gods.
Brilliant. So the other men on the boat, they were crying out to their gods. Here's one thing you guys need to understand, okay, in the story. I was hoping somebody would observe this, but okay. When Jonah was put into the sea, okay, when did the men on the boat call out to Yahweh, or they worshipped Yahweh? Was it before Jonah was put into the sea, or after Jonah was put into the sea? After. So keep this in mind. Jonah had no idea that they've turned away from their gods and turned to the true and living Yahweh. Okay, he's in the sea. So here Jonah is saying that those who pay regard, so he's referring to the people on the, particularly on the boat, that he saw them calling out to their gods. He's saying that they're forsaking the hope of steadfast love. But the irony is, actually they saw the true God because of what just happened. But Jonah doesn't know that as of now, right? So it's kind of an interesting thing to keep in mind when you study systematically. Like when you study from chapter 1 and you keep all these chapters together, you see that what Jonah is really saying is, see, that people, they were calling out to this God, and they're actually forsaking the steadfast love of the true God. But actually what Jonah didn't know was that people actually knew this true God because of what just happened. Do you guys see that? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Isn't that a character of the Lord, like steadfast love?
Yeah. Do you think we can draw out an application out of what just Becky said, the character of the Lord in this particular passage? We actually didn't get into it, okay? We didn't look into the character specifically, but let's just pick one. So one of the things the text tells us is one of the characters of the Lord is his steadfast love. So what is one specific application you can draw out of that? Let me ask somebody.
That
Sorry.
the things of the world could give me temporary joy or relief, but the Lord's love is is something that is forever.
Okay. Okay.
And it's not going to change or shape shift, or His love doesn't depend on who I am.
Okay, Sheetal, so right now you gave me an application that is general. Okay, let's make it specific. The same idea, let's make it specific in relation to what we're learning today from this text. So let's keep how Lord's steadfast love was important for Jonah in this particular story.
See, out of love, he asked Jonah to go to Nineveh. Okay, out of love, God rose that tempest sea. Out of love for Jonah, he allowed the fish to swallow him up, and out of love, he was vomited back onto dry land.
Okay. Okay. So
God's love is steadfast, irrespective of Jonah's shapeshift of character.
Okay. Okay. Even though Jonah was running away from God, even though Jonah was willing to run away, so much so that he looked at the people on the ship and said, "You throw me. Okay, I'd rather die than going to Nineveh. Okay, you throw me into the sea." Even though all of those things happened, we see that how Lord's love is so steadfast that he appointed a fish to eat up Jonah or swallow Jonah, right? And that shows the love of Christ. So here's an application question for all of us today. Okay, how do I see the Lord's steadfast love in my life today? Okay, even as I am running, so maybe a question you can ask is, am I in a place where I'm running away from God, and how do I see God's steadfast love today in my life? Is that question helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so try to make these questions specific. Yeah, Joash, sorry.
Nothing. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So try to make these questions specific to me. Like first, let's make it specific to me, and then we'll think about the general idea. So if you have any questions, I'm sure you'll have plenty of questions. If you have, please message me. We'll talk about it when we start. We won't have a study tomorrow. We'll have a study on Sunday, 3 to 4 o'clock. I'll remind in the group. So if you have any questions, I'll ask then. Just want to remind you guys to take the questionnaire again. Questionnaire is not to grade you guys. There's no first place, second place, or anything. It's just to understand how much this session is really helping you guys, and how I can be praying for you guys. At the same time, I just want to see how you're using this. How is it helping you guys? I just want to see it so I can help you guys out if you're getting stuck somewhere. So whoever has sent so far has been very helpful. To the others, please participate. It'll really help me. So that's all, I guess. And I'll ask one of you to pray. Who is JJ?
Yeah, hi, Tobin. It's me, Jerly.
Okay. Hi, sister. Could you please close us in prayer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Gracious Lord, we thank you for this time, and thank you each one of us to learn from your word, O Lord. And thank you, brother, for Brother Tobin, who's been encouraging us to learn from your word. Thank you for this time, and we pray for others who could not join, O Lord. Thank you for bringing up this word into our lives, O Lord. I ask all these things in the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.